In his role as racing manager for Sheikh Mohammed, Simon Crisford experienced the lows of defeat on dirt at a Breeders' Cup. Remember Saki, who was just touched off by the magnificent Tisnau in a famous classic. But now training in partnership with his son Ed, Simon can put those wrongs right. He can land a Breeders' Cup dirt mile with Algiers, the Dubai World Cup runner-up. It is a big deal for the Crisfords.
Hits the front, Usman Tesoro wins the Dubai World Cup for Japan.
It is a big deal. We can't wait to get him to Santa Anita.
So Eddie, he was once trained by Andre Fabre in France, then he came to Newmarket and he won on the turf early doors. But I really feel it was his second in the Churchill Stakes, where he had the likes of Bolshoi Ballet behind, that probably showed you that an artificial or indeed a dirt surface might be his thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually the year before that it all sort of came about. When he came to us, we sort of took him to Dubai, thinking he could be a sort of nice carnival type, turf, maybe try him on dirt. But he was suddenly really training really well on the dirt. And there was a race at Jebel Ali, the Group 3 Jebel Ali Mile. So we put him in that and he won. And we thought, well, hang on, he goes well on dirt here. And then we ran him in the Godolphin Mile and he finished mid-div and we brought him back to England, had the summer off. And it was then, as you mentioned, in the Churchill Stakes, that's where he really took off. And he showed some really good figures that day. Just got beaten. But we thought, you know, if he can produce that in Dubai, we've got something good.
Yeah. Forget about fighting them on the beaches. It was fighting them on the dirt and rather than on the grass. So you have this progressive horse now that you start thinking, hello, this might be a proper sort of carnival horse to go to war with. You could never really have thought at that stage, though, that you'd end up nearly winning a Dubai World Cup.
No. When we took him out, to be honest, you know, in that first round of the Maximum Challenge, we just thought we hoped he'd just run a nice, decent race. We thought we had a bit of a squeak, but the way he did it that day was exceptional. You know, he cruised into it, went sort of 6 lengths clear, and he just looked so dominant. But he had to back it up. You know, everyone was, we sort of thought, is this just a one-time wonder, a bit of a fluke? But it was in that second round when he backed it up, and he looked really good. That's when we thought, well, we got a World Cup horse here.
The Dubai World Cup must have been such mixed emotions, and of course, Sheikh Mohammed's had those himself with the likes of Swain, etc. But for 99.8% of the Dubai World Cup, it didn't just look like you'd win. It looked like you might even win it on the bridle.
Yeah, I mean, when he turned in, I'm not going to lie, my legs started shaking, and I just thought, we've got this in the bag. But they were going so quick. The fractions early they were nearly the same as the sprint race on the same day. And he was sort of up there on the pace, and that last furlong just took its toll. But he ran a super race, and it just showed him against the best dirt horses in the world. And that's why we want to try him in America and try him in the Breeders' Cup, because he deserves a crack against the best dirt horses in the world. But we're opting for the mile, not the Breeders' Cup Classic, because the mile he was so dominant, and that last furlong in the World Cup just took its toll. So maybe that mile just will suit him better at Santa Anita.
That must have just taken some thinking about, though, because of course if you took the winner out of the Dubai World Cup, let's just say that horse hadn't ever existed, you'd probably be aiming for the Classic because you'd have bolted up in a Dubai World Cup.
Yeah,
it's a funny game, isn't it?
It is. And we were talking. I mean, at the beginning I said, come on, let's go to the Breeders' Cup Classic, and Dad, with his wise head, looking at the figures and the fractions, and just said, look, this horse is a proper horse over a mile.
What did you make of his comeback run at Woodbine? I mean, it did look very much like a prep, and one that he would improve a lot for.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was a bit rusty. He will improve from the race. They went so slow, and he was just caught in a bit of a pocket. He sort of, the fractions were, they were about 6 seconds slower than what he was running to in Dubai, which is roughly about 30 lengths. So, they crawled around there. He was the best horse in the race. He probably should have won. Just after the wire, he was in front. It was a nice prep. Puts him on target for Breeders' Cup.
Would we expect a much more aggressive ride in the Breeders' Cup?
Absolutely. What he likes is to travel off a quick pace. And that's what he can do, and he can just keep going at those seriously quick fractions. And that's where he puts the race to bed. and the other day he didn't have it. So yeah, I think for sure you'd want an aggressive ride.
And it really feels like the Simon and Ed Crisford combo has come of age in 2023. You've had lots of good horses, but of course Van Dijk stands out as a middle part winner, a Group 1 winner for you twice now. To have won that Group 1 and to now have this possibility of winning a Breeders' Cup race in the same year. As a team, do you really feel there's proper momentum now?
Yeah, no, we absolutely. We've got a great stable, great. The guys at home are fantastic. We've got a great team behind us. Owners supporting our stable are fantastic. A lot of them have been with us from the beginning, and it's just nice to have some really good horses to repay the owners back with.
We're going to talk to Dad in a moment about Sheikh Mohammed's relationship with him over the years. But you know your dad better than anyone. To go to the Breeders' Cup with an offspring of Shamadal, bred by Godolphin, in a race that Godolphin won last year. Underneath it all, is that something that's going to touch him? It will mean a lot.
Of course. I mean, he won many Breeders' Cup races at his time at Godolphin, and it's the Breeders' Cup is just a huge championship event, and to be a part of it is amazing, but to have a proper live chance is fantastic. And no, it would mean a lot. I mean, growing up watching every single Breeders' Cup of meetings since I was a young kid. I mean, my dream was always to win a Breeders' Cup race, and just to have a runner is amazing, and hopefully he can do the business.
Now, Ed, we've gone big on Algiers, but it's not all about him. You've also got Carla's Way in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Fillies, a horse who started off with a lovely win, then went to Royal Ascot, wasn't disgraced, a good second to Darnation, and then won the Rockfell. And that's key, because that was a Breeders' Cup win, and you're in.
It was fantastic to win a win in your end. She, as you said, she's been progressive all summer long. When we ran her at Goodwood, the ground that day was just on the soft side, and she definitely prefers quicker ground. And we brought her up here for the Rockfell Stakes, and it was quick ground that day, and she won it extremely well. She's got the ability to quicken off a fast pace, and that should put her in good stead for America. And we thought, with winning the win in your end, the 2-ton mile would just be made for her.
Yeah, she's gradually gone up in distance from a start of 6.5. She went back to 6 at Ascot and then 7, as you say, now going up to the 2-turn mile. Pedigree's interesting, by Star Spangled Banner out of a New Approach mare. The New Approach stamina will put her in good stead, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I think, as you said, she's a New Approach mare. She will get to a mile next year. She's a lovely big scopy filly, but for now, 7 we felt if we go to the fillies mile, a straight mile might just catch her out. But a 2-turn mile Santa Anita would just be, as I said, would be made for her, and it rides a bit like a 7-furlong race. So we felt that would just be the best option for her, and then next year hopefully she'd be good for the mile.
Yeah, so it really is Breeders' Cup. Watch out, the Crisfords are coming.
Well, we'll see, but we've got 2 nice hopes, and let's hope they can both run well.
Congratulations to you and Sheikh Mohammed.
Thank you very much, sir.
So Simon, Breeders' Cup's going to be huge for you and Ed as a team, but for you, you're kind of going full circle. Godolphin won the Dirt Mile with Cody's Wish 12 months ago. Algiers is bred by Godolphin, and you used to be Sheikh Mohammed's racing manager. It could all be written in the stars that this happens.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic, and as you quite rightly say, it is written in the stars. I mean, Algiers has proved himself a revelation, but from our point of view, the idea that we're going back to the Breeders' Cup with our own horse, running in the Breeders' Cup mile is just amazing. It really is.
Everyone knows how important the World Championships are, and Sheikh Mohammed created Godolphin in many ways to compete across the globe at the very highest level when he changed his maroon and white to blue. You were part of that whole structure. The importance of winning on a world stage for Sheikh Mohammed is what?
Well, it's extremely important. When Godolphin first started, his mandate was, we want to be international, we want to explore new boundaries, we want to pioneer with different adventures around the globe. And since the start of Godolphin, we've been campaigning horses all around the world. And the Breeders' Cup being such huge, massive, important world stage championships was very much part of our mainstream plan.
And of course, when you try and win on a global scale, you're going to enjoy fantastic success if you're at Sheikh Mohammed's level, but you're also going to have some crushing defeats, and the Breeders' Cup gave you both.
Absolutely, in spades. Obviously, when Swain veered across the track under a Frankie Dettori drive and got beaten, that was sort of heartbreaking. I remember when Saki just got beaten by Tisnow in the Breeders' Cup Classic. That was just unbelievable. I mean, Tisnow, the size of his head was twice as big as Saki's head, and so that was heartbreaking. But obviously, winning with Daylami when he won the Breeders' Cup Turf at Gulfstream was amazing, because we'd all sort of recommended that the horse should be retired after his sort of display in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, when he was really disappointing. But Sheikh Mohammed was very keen to have another go, because he could see the horse was sound and well and fit, and he just cat hopped around that Gulfstream track, and it was just one of those moments of glory. And we had some other magnificent times, and it was just truly wonderful.
Of course, although you were a racing manager then, training was in your blood. It was always something that was sort of probably bubbling away under the surface. To have had those experiences, but now to be going back to Santa Anita with a Simon and Ed Crisford trained Hot Pot, a really good horse, a Dubai World Cup runner-up, that's going to feel something super cool, isn't it?
It's absolutely super cool. I mean, obviously I spent quite a number of years as an assistant trainer in Newmarket and down in Sussex with John Dunlop, and it was always my sort of dream to train one day, but my career went in a different path. Firstly with the Racing Post, and then as an assistant racing manager to Anthony Stroud at Darley, and then when Godolphin started taking up the reins there. And obviously I've now been given an opportunity to train. We're having a lot of fun and we're really enjoying it, and it's something extra super special.
Well, you've done pretty much everything there is to do in horse racing, but no European has ever won a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Let's hope you're the first. Good luck.
Well, we're going to be trying very hard. Thank you.